Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. My name is Nick Walsh. I'm your host tonight. I'm here with my good friend, my confidant, my regular co-host, a guy drinking Michelob Ultras. I'm here with Vinny Gonzalez. What's up, dude?
What's up, dude? I would like to acknowledge that it's under rare, extreme circumstances that the only beer in my house is Michelob Ultra. So this was not my personal choice, but I am making the decision to drink it, so that might even be worse.
By rare extreme circumstances, Vinny means that he buys a singular six pack once a week of them, and
That's my style.
That's kind of what he does. So yeah, there you go. But Vinny, we're not here to talk about the shitty beers that you're drinking. We're here to talk about what happened in Week 10. But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know we are sponsored by No Halftime. The No Halftime app isn't your typical fantasy sports service. You get to create one-on-one fantasy matchups, and you can use the code LTFF100 for a 100% deposit bonus when you sign up. So, Vinny, we got some stuff to talk to. I think we've got, some news, some injury stuff, trying to parse through what sort of things are real, what sort of things aren't really legitimate as we go through here, and kind of figure all that out. Can you hear that?
Someone talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
Fucking A. Dude, shut the fuck up! What the fuck, dude?
Oh my god.
All right. I don't know where to start from now.
Where did we end?
I feel like I stopped like mid-sentence, but I don't know where was like a good part to like.
You were doing the halftime.
I'll do after the live read. I'll go in from there.
I don't think you finished the live read.
I did.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was a little distracted actually.
Yeah, I think I did.
Who was that? Just your roommate, like outside your door yelling?
What the fuck, man? It's all good. All right. So yeah, I'll pick up from the live read, I guess.
I think you were just saying we had things to talk about, so we can just.
Yeah, I'll go from there. All right, Vinny. So we got some things to talk about. You know what? You were laughing there, so I'm going to start that again.
Sweet.
All right, Vinny. So we got some things to talk about this week. There's some injury news, some situations going on where we've kind of got to parse through injuries, usage, that sort of thing. Weird situation in Seattle that we'll get to. But I think the first thing that I want to talk about this week is more of on like a meta level, I guess, than anything else. And it's sort of the idea of how do you know when you fucked up in your decision-making in fantasy or when you just got like, screwed over by luck or you just got unlucky, whatever the case may be. I think it's a difficult thing to do. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this week I had probably the most frustrating fantasy week of my life where I made a lot of good decisions and came very close to having them pay off and didn't. But like there were certain little tweaks I could have made that would have made all the difference that I just didn't make. So I think in general, what's your opinion on this? Like, how do you know when you've just had a bad week, whether it's in a league or in daily or, on the waiver wire or whatever the case may be? And how do you how do you evaluate that when you're going through week to week?
Man, it's always tough. And that's pretty much exactly what fantasy is. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. It's like, it usually evens out when you're playing season long, but I think more so when you fucked up is when you tinker with your lineup, you make stupid decisions that you normally wouldn't do, and then you're just sitting there like throughout the day just like, why the fuck did I do any of that? And I'm talking about like playing guys in matchups you shouldn't just because like if the matchup isn't there, I think you should seek other options. But sometimes people get lucky and that kind of shit pays off. I'm trying to think of an example of one this week where someone like let's say if you're playing some asshole and he put in Michael Floyd for some reason. Michael Floyd had like a decent week. Like that is getting boned. when someone makes a dumb decision and then just it works against you in your favor. I'm trying to think of another one. You have more recent stuff on this, so you can just.
Yeah, I had one this week where I lost by 7, and with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Phillip Rivers threw a pick six and then another pick. So that's 10 points if you were counting in defense for the Miami Dolphins, which was not a good defensive start on the road at San Diego, a pretty potent offensive team.
Right.
And I lost because of it. So, there's things like that happen. I lost by 0.1 points because of Odell Beckham on Monday night this week. But again, there's like in that league, I didn't play LeGarrette Blount. So like there's things like that too, where you look at it and you're like, yeah, dude, I've done that way too much this year. That's actually one thing. So I've been thinking about this. I think a leak in my game is that I underrate running backs who only get groundwork because I'm so obsessed with them getting passing down work. But anyway, yeah, I guess the point is sort of, like sometimes you get boned and sometimes you fuck up, and it's like it's something that you really.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out when that exactly happened because it's all if you're depending like it's if you're on the receiving end of it or if you're the one doing it. It's very subjective. So it all depends on like what your opponent did, what you did that you normally wouldn't do. And then you just kind of take a step back after the week is over and just be like, why did I do any of that? And why did that work against me?
And I think it's also important to note, and this one's probably even harder to recognize, when you made a bad decision that worked out, and when, you made a decision that was a little bit questionable, but you took a calculated risk and it worked out. And what I mean by that is like, for example, if I play a guy who my line of thinking is, they're going to have the team's going to have a lot of touchdowns. He's not going to get a lot of carries, but if they get him by the goal line, he'll get one. I'm going to play him on the calculated risk that he has a touchdown, and he gets a touchdown. That's a good decision. You played him based on that risk. If you play a guy and like you get lucky, like for example, like Matt Asiata, and it's like Matt Asiata got a touchdown, even though he got like his 5 carries or whatever, like cool. If you play him and like Matt Asiata caught a swing pass for like 40 yards and that's why like the Vikings didn't even get close to the goal line, like you made a bad decision and it worked out okay for you. I think that's something also that when you win, you're so quick to say like, this was me. And when you lose, you're looking for excuses. So it's an interesting thing to go through there.
Yes.
Anyway, I probably lost all you guys already, but I wanted to start this off with a little bit of philosophical discussion, just because that's what I've been doing with myself all week. I've been in my head trying to figure out what was right, what was wrong, and what I need to work on. Vinny, let's get into the fucking news, dude. Alshon Jeffrey suspended 4 games for PEDs. I have him on 2 out of my 3 teams, and that sucks. I'm pissed. First question, do you drop him or keep him?
I think that depends on your playoff situation. I think if you have a shot to make it, I think you hold on to him. I think if you're fighting for just moving up in the standings I don't know if anyone's league does that by playoff spot like we do. You could be fighting, to not make the playoffs necessarily, but still to go out on a high note. So I would say drop him in that scenario and probably pick up Marquise Wilson, who was just activated from the PUP list. It's probably the best you can do right now this late in the season as well.
That's true. A guy who's going to inherit a role like that, though we do have to watch out for Eddie Royal and see what his status is going to be too. But Marquise Wilson is probably going to come right into a pretty decent role with Alshon Jeffrey there. He's still on the Bears. He still has Jay Cutler throwing to him. But I think if you're making a push towards the playoffs, you should drop him because you need all the help that you can get. I think the situation where you keep him is if you are comfortably in the playoffs and you can maybe afford a couple losses and you like have the bench space where you can sort of keep him. But like, I think in the 2 leagues that I have him in, I'm sort of like desperate and like ready to make my playoff push. I'm going to drop him in both of them. So that's sort of where we're at.
Jeez, it's such a sad time.
It is, man. It's really sad. I don't like it at all. All right. Anything else on Jeffrey or what do we think about like Cam Meredith or
I was
Zach
gonna
Miller
say,
there?
yeah, Cam Meredith is if he's floating around, which he really might be, you can go out and grab him. I would say he's more already slated into the offense more so than Marquise Wilson.
So you take him
Or
over Wilson?
yeah, I think I would. Would you?
Yeah, I would. I definitely
Yeah,
would.
for sure.
Um,
And then I guess Zach Miller gets a tiny bump, but there's like a ton of tight ends that I'd probably rather play.
yeah, I think I agree with that. It'll be interesting to see how that offense goes now. Alshon, I guess, on the as a side note, it looked like he was going to have a fucking day. He had like 4 catches for 47 yards on the first drive, and
Yep.
he finished with 4 catches for 47 yards, which
Every
is,
that game, I fucking hate that game, dude. The whole
yeah,
podcast, I was like yelling about Cutler and how sweet it is, and just oh man,
yeah, yeah.
ooh,
We for
EJ
like
Cutler.
we did it to ourselves again, where like we forget that like a normal quarterback would like have the garbage time situations like kind of thing, and Cutler just goes into like his I don't care mode or whatever the hell it is, where like he somehow ends up with a floor. Like if he hadn't had that 50-yard Hail Mary that was tipped to
Oh,
Cam Meredith, he would have had negative fantasy points this week.
yeah, or like 2 or 3, which is still oh god, complete
Yeah.
ass. But that
So
was just a mess.
yeah. All right, let's move on from the Bears and talk about the Eagles' backfield. After 2 weeks of 80% snaps for Darren Sproles, 10 and 11% snaps for Ryan Matthews. What we saw was Ryan Matthews started and ended up getting 26 snaps, which isn't like an overly large amount. Sproles had a larger amount of snaps than him, but Matthews touched the ball on 21 of his 26 snaps. Had a huge game, 2 touchdowns. Sproles still was serviceable with his, I believe he had 8 catches. So,
Yes, eight
it's
targets,
very,
8 catches.
yeah, very serviceable game because he has that PPR floor. But what are you making of the Eagles' backfield? Where I think a week ago at this time we were sort of under the impression that Sproles could be an every week start from here on out.
I think he still is. I think it would be overreactionary of us to say like Matthews is the dude because he's really not. Like Matthews got 33% of the snaps. Sproles got 33% of the snaps. And I think Wendell Smallwood also had around
I think
somewhere around.
19%.
Yeah. And then I forget the other dude who was involved there. But
Kenyon Barner, but
yes, like fuck that. It's just, I think with the floor in PPR that you're getting with Sproles, I think he's still an every week flex. With Matthews, you're much more rolling the dice there, I think.
yeah, I very much agree. Matthews is extremely touchdown dependent. But as I was saying with Blunt before, I think I'm actually maybe a little bit biased to these guys that are or biased against these guys who are touchdown dependent and aren't going to catch as many passes. So um, I don't know. I'm having trouble judging Ryan Matthews. I will say that I dropped him before this week to pick up Rashard Matthews in a league and immediately looked like a fucking moron.
Oh,
Um,
Rashard Matthews didn't do that bad. He had
well,
a
yeah, yeah. I think
touchdown and stuff. It wasn't the
that
worst.
that part of the equation worked out, but dropping Ryan Matthews did not.
Right.
All right, let's move on to the Seahawks backfield, which we alluded to before. Talk to me about this because a lot of news came down today. Run through that for me and then let me know what you think here.
So Kristen Michael just got cut out of nowhere, just waived by the Seahawks, and he had been dealing with a hamstring injury. And on Sunday night against the Seahawks, it was all CJ Procise. He got the start. He had a great fantasy day. He pretty much helped them win that game. They outpaced the Patriots, who were playing pretty conservative, and it was nuts. So it's pretty much all CJ Procise. I think for the time being, like Thomas Rawls is coming back, but we haven't seen him do anything crazy in about a year and a half now since he had that injury last year because he didn't even start the season all that great. But I think CJ Procise, even if Rawls gets the early down work, he still has that role slotted out for him in this offense.
Very much agreed. It's really wild that a guy like Kristen Michael, who has been a starting running back every week for like a lot of good fantasy teams, the guy who's in first in the league that the 5 of us play in, has seen Kristen Michael and has been starting him every week. And now he's cut. He's just not on a team. CJ Procise, I think, is the guy to roll with until further notice because you're right, we don't know what to expect from Rawls, and Procise is at the very least going to get that passing floor that we look for. Rawls, I think, is an interesting ad. because he's probably not owned in your league. If he is, I don't think you need to go out and trade for him, but he's an interesting ad just because he was very good down the stretch last year. We do know that this is sort of the backfield that Pete Carroll intended on going into this year. And so it's possible, as Russell Wilson continues to look better and better and better, which is also something to note, that, Rawls comes back and all of a sudden looks very good with this team. So we'll see exactly what happens there. Packers skill position players is a weird thing. The Packers are a weird team this year. Their defense is bad. Their run game is bad. We saw James Starks basically replace Ty Montgomery this week. What do you think about that? Are you buying into Starks? Because he's probably out on a lot of waiver wires as well.
I think I am, which sucks. I never really thought it would happen so much in Starks' favor so quickly. Like, he just got back to being healthy and they just threw him right in, and he actually had a great day. I know Don played him in a league, which is fucking stupid, but again, that's
Don played Ryan Matthews in like 4 leagues and then also played James Starks in one and was like, bye weeks, dude. It's like, that doesn't change the fact that those were terrible starts.
Like, if you were playing against Don, like how we were talking about before, if you played against Don and he played Starks and Matthews, you got boned, and Don thinks he's smart.
You got real boned.
And that's why fantasy is a bitch all the time. But I do see this as the end of Montgomery's fantasy value. I don't know if that's overreacting on my part, but he's seen less and less snaps. That sickle cell trait thing came out, and it's just he hasn't really – after those back-to-back 10-catch weeks, it's been nothing. So I would be very worried about playing him in any capacity.
Yeah, very much agreed. McCarthy said Montgomery was on a snap count because of his health issue, but he was in on the last drive when Brett Hundley was playing quarterback. I don't know why you would play a guy who's on a snap count on a garbage time drive with the backup quarterback. So after this week between, McCarthy and Peterson and whoever else, I'm done trusting what coaches say. I'll take the evidence on the field, and the evidence on the field says Montgomery got benched. What about the wide receivers? Jordy absolutely exploded. Davante Adams had a big game, but Randall Cobb caught, I believe, a quarter of his targets, actually had more targets than Davante Adams by 1. I think he had 9 compared to 8 for Adams. Just didn't really catch the ball. How do you rank these wide receivers, and how many of them are you willing to start week to week?
It sucks to rank these guys. I think I did it when we were doing our preview podcast last week, but I think it goes Jordy, Adams, Cobb for me.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, they each have their own upside and floor, so I think you're safe to play them. I think Cobb probably has the lowest floor out of all of them. I think Davante Adams has really come into his own, and Jordy has been looking more like Jordy lately.
Yeah, I think Jordy's like the guy the rest of the year. Adams, as Cobb gets healthier and healthier, we may see his role decrease a little bit. But at this point, I think you can start all 3 of them going into each week until further notice, really.
Right.
Anything else on the Packers here, or are you good?
Nah, I'm good. They looked really bad.
Yeah, but
they're a very hot and cold team.
The thing is, if their defense sucks the rest of the year, then their offense is going to have to throw it. They're going to have to rack up yards. We know Aaron Rodgers can certainly rack up yards with these receivers. And if Jordy keeps getting 18 targets, that's just, I don't know what to say about that. But all right. So then let's move on to their opponents, the Titans, and talk about Marcus Mariota. He is currently QB4, I believe. Is this legit? Is he going to regress? Does it matter?
I don't think it matters. I think you're kind of rolling Mariota out there regardless for the rest of the season. A stat popped up on my phone from some whatever app I use all the time. it's Mariota has never thrown a red zone interception in his career, which is sweet. And it's just totally shown in his touchdowns lately.
He's like the anti-Jay Cutler and Phillip Rivers.
Exactly. It's been very, very cool for Marcus Mariota lately. And that whole offense is just like clicking. I remember at the beginning of the season, we were worried that this was just going to be a run first offense. And Mariota doesn't really throw all that much, but he is accurate as fuck and has been throwing nothing but touchdowns. And I don't even think he threw 20 times in this game. And he had it was right at 30 or 32 points this week, which was insane.
Yeah. I was thinking about it while you were talking. I think Mariota, in like all aspects of life, may actually be the anti-Cutler. He's like, like he's like he takes care of the ball really well. He's like a really nice guy.
He's accurate.
He's accurate. He doesn't throw red zone interceptions.
Probably never smoked a cigarette in his life.
Yeah, I mean, like I doubt he like gets drunk and like is belligerent too much. It's just like he seems like the anti-Cutler in all aspects of life. But anyway.
Pretty dead up. I will mention Marcus Mariota has a little bit of a rough schedule coming up. I know I don't have it up in front of me, but it involves the Chiefs,
Denver, and Jacksonville. That's actually the thing that I was going to bring up there. He plays the Colts and the Bears the next 2 weeks, and then has a bye, and then comes back to Denver, KC, and Jacksonville. I think.
Are you worried about the Jags as much? Like they torched them on Thursday night.
Yeah, but I mean, like generally people do worse in their second divisional matchup. The defenses like know the tendencies a little bit more. I don't think it's a plus matchup for him. I'll say that.
Okay.
And I think if you've got some sucker in your league who's going to trade for a quarterback, like you can trade Mariota after he plays the Bears or potentially right before he plays the Bears. So you're not trying to trade on his
bye week. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause the Bears aren't a good defensive team, but they're actually not a bad defensive team. Yeah, they get a little bit of pressure. They can stuff the run a little bit, and they do a good job. It seems like they're really trying to like focus in on taking away the number one option. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I think if you can get some sucker who trades for quarterbacks, you should try and do that with Mariota after this week against the Colts, or you can honestly. You can drop him before his bye because you're not going to want to play him on the Denver or KC matchups.
Yeah, that's very fair. I don't know about dropping him, but it all depends on how your roster's looking there too. If you have room to do that, if you have room to keep him, I don't think you're necessarily crazy, but it all depends on your circumstance.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's talk about the Patriots a little bit. LeGarrette Blount, I talked about this before. So I own him in one league. He has had a huge year in PPR. And this is a guy who doesn't catch any passes. He might not even have a single catch this year. In PPR, he's running back number 6.
Touchdowns.
I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in touchdowns for running backs.
I think he has 13.
Yeah, he's going to get like 20 this year.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
But so he's also the least amount of points he's had in a game is 7 this year. So like I think I've played him 3 out of the 9 games that he's had, which is just like me being a stubborn, stupid asshole. But LeGarrette Blount, rest of season, are you trusting this or? And again, this is my bias coming in. Are you trying to sell him? Maybe.
Man, I was gonna say I need to look at the schedule, but after seeing what he did to the Seahawks, like I don't really give a shit. I think I'm rolling out Blount for the rest of the season. I just can't envision a circumstance where I would want to sit him. I mean, if you have shitty wide receivers and you want to trade for, like, what would be a trade target for Blount? Like, what could you get? Like, I think you'd want something at least like a top 5 dude, right?
Oh, I don't think you could get top 5. I was gonna say maybe like you can get like Allen Robinson for him, or like maybe like Dante Moncrief or something.
See, I think that's kind of selling Blount a little low for how good he's been.
For Moncrief? Or
yeah, and both of them really.
Okay. I mean, like you're not going to get like the Julio, Antonio Brown, like Mike Evans. Like you're not
talking back end guys like Fitzgerald, Jordy Nelson, possibly.
See, I don't think. Yeah, if I had Jordy Nelson, I wouldn't trade him for Blount. But again, I'm biased there. I know this. I don't know. I would like to mention the schedule though, because you brought that up.
Yep.
He faces the fucking 49ers this week. So don't sell
Don't
him
trade him
yet.
now. Yes,
Don't
correct.
sell him yet. But then
No.
afterwards, you get the Jets twice, the Rams, the Ravens, and at Denver, which I know Denver's been better against the pass than the run. I still don't like the at Denver matchup. So I'm a little worried about those matchups. I think I would try and sell him after this 49ers game and hope someone's not looking at the schedule in your league.
That's a fair call. Two good trade away candidates from Walsh here, Mariota and Blunt. Get rid of them. Bold, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm probably not going to be able to get rid of him, and then I'm just going to keep him on my bench, and he's going to keep.
And they'll do fine.
That's the thing is too, like Blunt was theoretically a good play this week because the Patriots were a heavy favorite. I didn't play him still, and like the Patriots were down the whole game, and he still got fucking 3 touchdowns. Like it's this is a guy who like in his. I always say he has a floor of like 8 carries for 16 yards, but that hasn't been the case this year. He's just got this huge ass ceiling that comes when they get ahead and they give him the ball 27 times. I don't know. Let's move on to another Patriot. Gronk is going to miss at least 1 game, supposedly. He has a perforated lung, which is not punctured apparently, but still isn't good. What does this do for the rest of the offense?
I think they're going to lean on Blunt a lot more, and then and throw to Bennett. If you have Bennett, he's a good. If you have the handcuff, one of the dicks in our league does, which is absurd, handcuffing a tight end, and it's worked out no matter what. But if Bennett is out there, or if you have him, if Gronk is out, he is a top 5 fantasy play.
Yeah.
I think also that's it though, right? Like Edelman, maybe he's kind of not been good at all.
I think Edelman's playing hurt is my theory. He's playing through an injury, I think. And like he's been questionable every week going into it. But like Edelman's getting the target share with where if he wasn't playing hurt, if he's not hurt at all, he's just playing like dick, like it is.
Well, he came in hurt to the season. He was already dealing with ankle injury I forget what exactly.
I think that's sort of what's happening here. Another thing we didn't talk about with Blunt, and we should talk about it before we get off the Patriots, is Dion Lewis was supposed to be back this week. He was a last-minute inactive, but you would think he would be back, this coming week. How do you see that impacting Blunt at all or the rest of the offense? And then does Lewis have standalone value?
I am really not sure.
That's a very good answer.
Yes. Well, the whole thing is around Belichick. Like he came out and said that one, Dion Lewis is not a shoo-in for all the passing work already. So I don't know how much of that is bullshit, how much of that is true. But if James White has to lose his job for Dion Lewis to get some work, like I'm sure they'll do a 3-back kind of rotation somewhere in there. But if he's going to be splitting snaps with James White, I cannot tell you my answer is I do not know. I think Blunt is fine. He's going to get his normal carries and probably do well. But if Dion Lewis has to, prove himself again in this Patriot kind of mindset that they have over there, then I'm very worried about, 1, playing him at all, and 2, if he does start to do well, how well can you trust that going forward, especially in playoff? We're like literally weeks away from the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I like the schedule for like Dion Lewis coming up since it's not a Blunt schedule, but you're right. We don't really know. And it's making me nervous because I've been stashing Dion Lewis in one league for like 3 weeks, just like waiting for him to come back and like hoping he's going to be the savior. It's looking not likely. Like I've been getting more and more pessimistic every week, but we'll see. On the Bears, Jordan Howard may or may not have an ankle or Achilles injury. There's a lot of ifs in that. We don't even know what kind of injury. Basically, the moral of this is fuck John Fox. If Jordan Howard is injured, is Langford or Carey the guy to pick up and play? Well, first pick up, second of all play. And then if either one of them is, how confident are you in them? That's a convoluted question. Answer it.
Yeah. I'll do my best here. I despise playing any of these running backs. I think the pickup here is Langford. When Carey has been sort of involved. He's been sort of goal line or not getting a lot of carries to begin with. So I think Langford will probably be the dude that they'll lean on, because I feel like the whole season it's been who's going to get the number one job, and it's either Howard or Langford. So I feel like they'll just revert back to Langford as being the guy there for whatever reason, and then John Fox will probably fuck it up somehow. I would not feel confident at all playing any Bears running back, though.
Yeah, this is like an up and down offense. Langford looked horrible to start the year. I think Langford is the pickup. I think you're right there, but we'll see how it goes. John Fox was like, yeah, he's injured. And Howard himself was like, no, I'm not injured. Yeah. It's like, normally John Fox is like, terrible. I don't know if he's injured. I can't tell. And it's like the one time he actually admits a guy's fucking injured and the player's like, nope, not injured. Oh, God, John Fox sucks.
He's the worst, dude.
Man, that's awful. Anyway, staying in the NFC North, Stephon Diggs, holy moly. 13 catches in back-to-back weeks. I could be wrong. I feel like I heard or read on Twitter that that's the first time that's ever happened, like in NFL history. But I feel like that would be a bigger deal.
I think he broke the record previously held by Ty Montgomery set like 2 weeks ago, which was 10 catches back-to-back.
Oh, wow.
So I think we saw history twice. So this is a fun year.
Yeah. Do you think this is sustainable?
No, but I still think Diggs is still like an integral part of what the Vikings are trying to do now. They kind of switched over to a West Coast kind of deal where they move Diggs around a lot and they do get him the ball early and often. So I think expecting 8 to, I guess 13 would be the ceiling. 8 to 13 catches in a game is not something completely out of question.
Yes, I agree with you in completely there, basically. He's still going to be a good play because he's getting such a huge target share. That being said, what he's done the past 2 weeks is unsustainable. He's caught almost 90% of his targets the past 2 weeks, and they've been running him in the slot more and running him on shorter routes, which is good for, the catch rate, that sort of thing. But he's not going to sustain a 90% catch rate. And it's a situation where they can't run the ball, and they realize that. So they're sort of like Stephon Diggs is going to be an extension of the run game. But teams are going to catch on to this sooner rather than later, you would think. And I think Diggs is very talented. But once teams realize how they're utilizing him, once there's a couple of weeks of film on him being used in the slot, that sort of thing, that's going to make a difference. So expect him to be an every week start from here on out, but don't expect this ridiculous volume that he is getting right now.
Yeah, don't get greedy. Just appreciate the weeks you got out of him. He's still going to be a great play.
He's basically, as we'll get to in a little bit, with the demise of Jarvis Landry as like this high floor, getting like 15 targets a week. We've entered the era of Steph Diggs as like as Jarvis Landry of the Vikings because they can't run the ball for shit. All right, let's go to the Rams. How do we trust anybody here?
Simple answer: we do not.
Not even Kenny Britt?
I was going to say the only guy I would trust, and it sucks because you're just going to trust him to get his normal work, would be Gurley.
I don't even trust Gurley. He only got 61% of the snaps this week and only one target.
Hold on.
Cunningham's back.
Fuck him. Hold on. He still had a lot of carries.
Yeah, he had over 20 carries.
He had 22 touches. So Gurley's going to do his thing, I think. He's probably the only one you can trust.
Gurley's going to do his thing of getting like
70 yards maybe.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But, yeah, this ruins I guess if you're streaming Kenny Britt or just rocking him every week, that can probably end. Until we see – are you rolling him out there this week?
Maybe. I don't know who they played this week. I haven't looked into it.
They play Miami.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe I'd play Kenny Britt. Dude, he's basically got a 6-target floor and big playability. Like, I know the
How many times have we seen, like, the second-string quarterback come in and then throw to some dude? Like, imagine Brian Quick just going off.
Yeah, but like since like week 4, I believe he's had at least 7 PPR points each week, which like I know isn't the best floor, but like it's a floor. Um,
I believe we also haven't seen Goff play a game yet with this offense. Walsh.
yeah, you're right.
Watch
That's
Tavon Austin have 8 catches for 50 yards.
Watch Tavon Austin have 13 targets and 4 catches for 9 yards. Um,
More accurate. I like that.
um, that's like 2.25 yards per catch. That's pretty bad. But yeah, no, you're right. Goff is probably going to get the start this week, or have they officially called it for him?
It's official now.
All right, so it's official. Goff's going to play. We got to see how that affects the offense. You're right. I'm bitter about this whole thing because I bought into Lance Kendricks, and he had 1 catch for 0 yards, and he sunk all my DFS teams. Yeah, I don't know. I was just very upset with that. Let's move on from the Rams. Let's talk about, well, we already kind of talked about it. Jarvis Landry. The Dolphins have kind of figured out how to run the ball, and I'll give them credit. Their defense has gotten better as the year has gone on. They've discovered that Jay Ajayi is good. He played well this past game. You wouldn't know it from his fantasy total because Damian Williams had 2 carries for 2 yards and a touchdown and 1 catch also for a touchdown. So Damian Williams vultured the touchdowns, but Ajayi looked good. He got 19 carries for 79 yards. They're running the ball well. And Jarvis Landry is the one who's really kind of getting pushed out of the role that we thought. Are you still starting him if you have him?
I do have him, and I have a lot of Landry. I think in every league, which fucking. I think we talked about this exact thing last week.
Yeah, I know.
But just a bummer. Everything you said last week, you did. I thought about it for Snead, and I just couldn't do it. And then obviously Snead kind of went off, but yeah, got boned, or I fucked up.
One of the two.
One of the two. It depends.
I think going forward, though, like I don't think I can. Like the upside isn't there still.
Yeah, everything you said last week was completely dead on. Like there aren't enough targets, so Landry's floor is gone. He doesn't score touchdowns. They don't throw constantly, so it's not happening for him. He's so good though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. I think there's going to be some matchups coming up where maybe you can get away with it, and you should consider the matchup heavily in it. Consider how well the team does against the slot. Consider how much Miami might have to pass in the game if their run defense is good, but the team's pass defense is weak, that sort of thing. Those are sort of the things you're going to have to be looking at, and those are the things we're going to be looking at as we preview each week when we discuss whether or not to start Landry.
Yep.
Allen Robinson, is it for real?
Sure.
Yes. I think so. Yeah, he's gotten double-digit targets the past 3 weeks. Blake Bortles, oh, dude, this is a wild stat, and I'm not going to take credit for this because this was from, I believe, Matthew Berry, actually. You know how many quarterbacks have more fantasy points than Blake Bortles over the past 3 weeks?
Is it more than 32?
Wait, what?
Wait, you say? Oh, I thought you meant like season long. Sorry, what was the question again? My bad.
Over the past 3 weeks, how many quarterbacks have more fantasy points than Blake Bortles?
I think it's a trick question, and it's a small number.
It's 2. It's Marcus Mariota and Aaron Rodgers.
No fucking way.
And Blake Bortles has still played like ass, but he's been doing what he did last year. They've been getting down, and he's been chucking the pig around.
Okay.
So Allen Robinson is benefiting from that. He's back, and it's for real, I think.
Let me smack up your universe for a second, Walsh. Mariota is the anti-Cutler. Guess who's the new Cutler?
Oh, dude, it's Bortles.
It's fucking Blake Bortles.
Bortles, you're right. It's definitely Bortles.
We've crowned anti-Cutler and new Cutler in one podcast. I feel real accomplished right now.
Yeah, but I think Allen Robinson you can trust going forward. The target share always said he was gonna like get back to at least something normal, and he's done it. I think that should continue continuing forward here. And then the last guy that we want to talk about is sort of feeding off of this. DeAndre Hopkins had 14 targets this week. Does that indicate an Allen Robinson like revival, or does Osweiler still just suck too much?
I think Osweiler sucks a ton, but from what we've seen out of Allen Robinson, like if the targets are there, it's almost too much to sit. And I've been saying it all season. And it just hasn't really clicked with Hopkins yet at all, but it always could. And that's why it's sinking your fantasy team, because he's always out there for you. But one of these weeks is going to hit. It has to. It makes no sense why it couldn't.
So I think it's possible, but I'm also worried about Fuller coming back if he does, which like he's saying he's going to give it a go this week. We don't really know. Hopkins got the 14 targets without Will Fuller in and without Jalen Strong in, actually. I believe it was the top 3 wide receivers were Hopkins, Braxton Miller, and then Keith Mumphrey behind him there. So
Keith Mumphrey.
Yeah, right. Blast from the past. I remember when I recommended him as an option 1 week. Stupid Walsh. Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends. I'm tempted to, not to spoil the preview podcast, but I'm tempted to get on Will Fuller if he's fully healthy this week, because the Raiders have struggled against small, fast receivers, more so than big, strong receivers. But it's difficult to predict. I think and this is another like sort of meta question, but I think we're at the point where there are people in leagues who are actively looking to buy low on guys. I don't know if Hopkins is a buy low as much as of a bust, and I think people may be looking to buy low on him still. If I had him, I might try to sell him to a guy who's trying to buy him with the, you know what I mean there?
Yeah, I'm actually, right on the same page, like kind of in the realm of Hopkins, Robinson, and Kelvin Benjamin, maybe in that like area, like guys that have all the talent in the world and the opportunity, but haven't really panned out so far for the season long. They haven't, but they totally could, and possibly win you a championship. So that's probably the mindset a lot of people are in, and you're looking to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think you can sell Hopkins to a guy you think he's gonna rebound, and I don't think he's really gonna rebound. All right, man. I think that's going to do it for our analysis of, general situations and news this week. If you guys have any specific questions, please tweet at us, email us, whatever it is, we'll answer it. Let's talk about the Thursday night football game, because it is a fucking doozy. We got the NFC South matchup, New Orleans at Carolina. Carolina is a 4.5 point favorite. The over-under is 53.5. That's a huge ass over-under. I think easier than saying who do you want to play in this, who do you want to sit in this game?
Trying to think. All the Saints guys are a go. Obviously.
What about the running backs?
I'm playing Ingram. I don't think I'm playing Hightower. I think I could sit Hightower.
Yeah, Ingram kind of swung to the lead of that backfield this week. I don't think you need to play either, but running back kind of sucks, so you probably have to play Ingram.
Yeah, against Carolina, it's not the greatest, but there will be enough opportunities in this game. I wouldn't get too cute with Hightower there, though. You consider playing Ted Ginn? I would not consider playing Ted Ginn at all.
All right, so hear me out on this.
No.
Ted Ginn, the past 4 weeks, has 8 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets, and then 8 targets. He has gotten at least 40 receiving yards in each of those games. He is on the field for generally anywhere from 70 to 90% of the snaps. And the Saints defense is garbage. And the Panthers are going to run up the score on them, I think. I think Ted Ginn is a very, very usable play this week. And potentially next week against the Raiders, who, as I said, have kind of struggled against small, fast receivers. I'm going to pick up Ted Ginn in some leagues this week, and I'm probably going to start him.
You just sold the shit out of that used car, Walsh. I like everything you just said, man. That was very well done. I still wouldn't do it. I just hate the Thursday night gamble. It's fucking brutal because you're looking at your failure for until Sunday. I don't know. Something mentally fucks me up about that. But everything you said makes a ton of sense. And if he breaks a long touchdown, I'll be eating my words.
We'll see. That's kind of what I'm banking on, but I may even like throw some Thursday night DFS lineups in just to get exposure to Ted Ginn, which is never something I thought I was going to say in my life.
You're just setting yourself up for like a shitty ass weekend.
Yeah, dude. I'm ready to make some more poor decisions and then spend my entire week questioning if they were bad decisions or if I got boned. But yeah, I think that the general moral here is, play all the Saints wide receivers, play Drew Brees, play Ingram, don't play Kobe Fleener. That guy sucks. Yes. And then on the Carolina side, you can play Cam, Olsen, Benjamin, Stewart. I think is a great play in this game, and I think you can play Ted Ginn.
Yes.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to talk about tonight, Vinny?
No, not really, man. I think we got a lot of stuff in there. A lot of the meta conversation was very nice. That's pretty cool.
Fair enough. I just needed some sort of venue to like vent my frustrations. So
that's why we have this.
Thanks for being my my personal sounding board and therapist, listeners. You guys are doing me a real service there. I think that'll probably do it. Vinny, not Vinny. Rogers and Don, I believe, are going to be back with the Week 11 preview. So keep an eye out for that as we continue through the week. Get all of your players in this Thursday. Don't be slacking. Don't make sure, anyone on there, you're getting them in because, it's easy to forget with the Thursday games. And there's a lot of guys to play this week. I think that's about it. So with that being said, later podcast.